everyone, welcome to another reading vlog. For this week, I am doing a Patreon picks my TBR. So I do have a Patreon book club, in case you were not aware. We do currently read books bi-monthly, but we have a whole Discord where we chat about life and videos and plans, because I do actually upload my booktube plans there and everything as well. And one thing that I thought would be fun is to do a sort of like patrons pick my books to read. So before my book club gets too big, I decided to just put out a whole like, hey, pick my book for me, any book whatsoever, I will read it. I had 4 people definitively like say, this is the book that I want you to read. So those are the ones that I'm going to be focusing on this week. I had, I think, 1 or 2 other people mention like recommendations, but not like a full like, here is the book I want you to read. So if we have more time in the week, I might pick up one of those. I do also think I had 1 or 2 other people join the book club after I had put out the call for books, so we'll see how it goes. But we do actually have 4 titles that I'm focusing on this week. The first was suggested by Nikki, and it is going to be Truthwitch by Susan Dennard. This is a book that I've semi-had on my radar, but I've never actually marked it as to read or want to read on Goodreads, mostly because it does have quite varying reviews. It seems like you either love this series or you don't like this series. The reason I've been intrigued by it is actually, I think like book 4, Blood Witch, something like that. That's when they got their new covers. Like the old covers were just not something that I was really intrigued by. And then I remember the cover coming out for, I think it was Blood Witch, and it was a whole new style, looked very intriguing, and then they changed all the covers. And I do like these ones a lot more. I currently have this checked out as an ebook through my library, through Libby, so that is how I will be reading that one. Then we had Ren suggest I read Artificial Condition by Martha Wells. They actually suggested that I read this one because I am really bad about continuing and finishing series, and they knew I had read All Systems Red and loved it. Like, I gave that book 5 stars. I do need to eventually get a physical copy because I don't have one, but this is the second novella in this series. One, it's a novella, so I'm very appreciative of that. It's going to be very quick and easy to read, hopefully. I do have this on ebook already, just in my owned library, and so I definitely want to read this one. The first book that I absolutely loved is about a spec android cyborg thing. I can't remember how they specified it in the first book, but they're not human. They are like agender, asexual, but they like have family vibes, and they're with these scientists on this like planet or moon, and weird things start happening in the first one. And like I said, I absolutely love that one. So we're going to be moving on to the second book in that series this week. The third pick that we have here is The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane. This was suggested to be read by Manu. The reason she picked this is because she absolutely loved this one and knew I had it and wanted to read it and said, you know what, you really need to get to this. I'm excited because this is male-male romance, but one of the characters is demisexual, and I'm always looking for more representation that way. So yes, I definitely do need to pick this up. And then the last one that we have for this week so far is going to be Alex and Ada by Jonathan Luna. This was suggested by Marissa, mostly because she is intrigued by what this is and remembers it being very, very hyped on BookTube when this first came out. And actually, that's how I remember it as well. I do have all 3 volumes. I think there's only 3 volumes in this series that I got at the end of last year, like in a Humble bundle, so I do have all of them. I'm at least going to be reading the first volume in the series and seeing how that works out for me, but that's going to be the overview so far. I think this is a very good mix of things. We do have an adult romance, we have a young adult sci-fi, we have an adult sci-fi but is a novella, so quicker to read, and then we have some comics. So this is going to be a very mixed sort of like genre reading week, which is fine for me because I read a lot of stuff, but I'm actually very excited for every single thing that has been picked out. Very intrigued by Truthwitch because it's not one that I like had on my TBR, but I did tell them they could pick anything. So anything I owned, anything I didn't own, anything they wanted me to read, either because they loved it or they're intrigued by it or they think I need to read it, like any reason whatsoever. So those are the ones we're going to start with. If my reading goes the way it was going last month, I'm probably going to be able to finish most of these pretty quickly. I was doing pretty well last month. So we'll see if I want to add more things at the end of this week or not. Today is Monday, so that means I do need to then start editing my video for tomorrow. So I won't be like reading right away because I need to like actually focus on that. But I think, ooh, I'm debating now. Do I want to actually start with my biggest book or start with the comic? Because I know I can definitely get that done quickly. Either way, I'm going to save one of the ebooks, so either Artificial Condition or Truthwitch, until like tonight when I put the kids to bed, because I like to read at that time. They go to bed in our room with us, and so I'm usually trapped, not able to go very far, and I like to do reading then. But ebooks usually are easier to read because the book light sometimes wakes them up. So yeah, I don't know which one yet. I will be back when I have an update for that, because I will be figuring that out soon. Okay, so it is almost 5 p.m. I got 2 videos edited today, which is great. Elliot had some good naps. Presley also is currently sleeping. I don't even know how that's comfortable. He usually doesn't have naps anymore, but today apparently he just needed one. I had her sleeping on me, who's now just here. Hi. Playing with her brother's toys that she's not usually allowed to play with when he's awake. But I had her on me sleeping, and then he fell asleep. But I just wanted to let you guys know that I decided to start with Alex and Ada, Volume 1 by Jonathan Luna. I have finished it. 5 stars. It, to me, really does live up to the hype. At least this first volume. I do have 2 more, and so depending on how this week goes, I actually think I might be adding those onto the TBR as well, just to get through the series, because I'm really bad at continuing series. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but also it was really good so far. It reminds me a lot of Detroit Become Human, which is a video game that came out a few years ago. I don't remember exactly when, but I love that one so much, because that's sort of what this is. We have our main character of Alex, who eventually ends up getting an X5 android that his grandma buys him, and let me tell you, his grandma buys it for him for sexy purposes, because she has her own android for sexy purposes, and I wasn't entirely on board with like that storyline, but he doesn't use it for that. He basically did not want this android, and it is now just here at his house, and he realizes that he can't get rid of her because it feels wrong to just be like, I don't want you, but she's also not a person. She has like an AI system, but not sentience, and so there are little hints and pieces of like bigger arguments about AI and sentience and all this kind of stuff that are happening, and he's curious if she could be sentient in a way. So I do see a lot of like those parallels between Detroit Become Human and this one, talking about like what does it mean to be human and that kind of stuff. And so yes, I actually am very intrigued by this. I really liked this first volume. I definitely want to continue. So that's my update for now. Like I said, it's only 5. Means we need to start doing dinner stuff soon, but I will probably read something else, or at least start something else around bedtime tonight. So I'll probably come back and talk to you guys tomorrow, but hopefully we'll be getting into another book. Hello, happy Tuesday. It is now Tuesday afternoon because I did not get any reading done last night. You guys saw Presley had a nap. The camera keeps trying to move because Elliot is holding the tripod. You wanna see? You let go and you can see. Hello. Hello. Yeah. Hello. But so, as you got to see, Presley, she's taking it. I'm gonna try and keep you here. Presley had a nap yesterday, and because of that, it took him forever to fall asleep last night. He usually doesn't take naps, but every so often he does. I'm sorry if this camera is going back and forth, back and forth. It is her. Whoa. So I did not get to read anything more last night because we were more dealing with that, and by the time we were done with that, it was time for me to go to bed. And then he had OT today. So we have been doing OT for the last almost 4 weeks now, for him, mostly to deal with some fine motor skills that he needs for writing and things like that, learning how to put certain objects of clothes on and off, and he's been doing things with movement too. So like he was on the swing for a little while today, which he's been doing good with. This is a brand new swing that he's tried out. He's only done a couple swings, and so he was doing very well with that today. And then we're also dealing with separation anxiety because he is only around me, and I think part of it is because COVID happened when he was really, really young. But so we're still dealing with that, and we've been practicing going back into OT and having me there for most of it and then leaving for the last little bit. And he did so well today, because last time that we tried this, he was okay until it was actually time to come and see me, and he broke down. Like, it all just like crashed over him. Today we had no tears, everything was good. We got donuts on the way home because apparently every single time we go to OT now, he needs a donut. So that's what we did. I did get a little bit of reading done in the waiting room waiting for his OT appointment, and when I was in the waiting room waiting for him to come out of his OT appointment, I started reading Truthwitch by Susan Dennard. I'm only like 8 or 9% in so far, because I did not have like a ton of time to read, but I like the writing style. I thought the beginning, even though it does throw you into it because that's what something that Nikki said, it was well done, and I'm very curious to see where this is gonna go. Like I said before, I do know that some people have mixed feelings about this, or like you either love it or you hate it, so we'll see, but so far so good. I'm very intrigued. And then I was listening to an audiobook on the way to and from his OT appointment because we go somewhere that's like almost 40 minutes away, and this is how I get audiobook reading in, but I'm not actually reading anything for this vlog specifically. I was reading A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kemmerer because that was the book that Presley picked for me in the like first sentence challenge video, and so I needed something to read in the car that is not too long because we only really go out on Tuesdays, and then I'll sometimes listen to it at night, that kind of thing, but is YA enough or young enough that I can put it on in the car while he's in there with me and we don't have to worry about anything too crazy going on. So I did get some of that listened to as well, but technically it's not part of this here. Elliot's now pulling the thing, but that is the second book in the Curse, what is it called? A Curse So Dark and Lonely series. It's probably actually a different series, but the first book was A Curse So Dark and Lonely that I gave 5 stars a few years ago. Really, really enjoyed it, and so I definitely need to read the other one, and that was the book that Presley picked for me, so that's my audiobook currently. I don't have any audiobooks for this reading vlog, but I don't listen to a ton every single month anyway, so that's fine. But so my plan is to read more Truthwitch today, most likely. I actually almost picked up another volume of Alex and Ada last night, except for the fact that I did not have time to pick anything up. So I have that itch to do that, which is a good thing. And I think that's the update for now because 1, Elliot's stinky, I need to change her diaper, and 2, it is almost nap time for her, and 3, my battery's dying. So yeah, this is the update for now. I will see you again once I've read some more. Okay, so I know the volume and like the way that the microphone works on this camera is not very good right now. Like the last time I had to do this, it was horrible. So we'll see how this works. I think I just need a new iPhone. I've had this one for like over 5 years. We're at the mall because Presley needs to help pick out a present for his cousin's birthday that is tomorrow. So we're gonna go to Five Below and find some like just like fun gifts that way. We are here pretty soon after it opened, so there's not very many people here at all. And so Presley is helping me push Elliot in the mall, and we're just going to be going around. We have this really cool Lego sculpture thing too, because there is a Legoland in this mall. he wants to find the owl. Oh, I see it. There it is. You see it? Yeah. Yeah? There it is. See, I told you. There's a Legoland in the store. We also have an aquarium in the mall. Legoland in the mall and an aquarium. So Presley found this Earth Planet dig thing at Five Below, and he is desperate to do it. So it came with a really cool looking earth and his tools, and it says it's gonna do these rocks. I was under the impression—
Can I open it?
You can. I was under the impression that he was only gonna get one rock, but the instructions actually say unearth all of the things, and then you can identify them with the paper. So it seems like he's gonna get all of them, because here's like how you identify them. Yes, you can do it. Yeah, once you've uncovered all the rocks, it's time to identify. And so these are the kind of rocks that is coming in the Earth one. They also had Mars, Saturn, and Uranus, and they seem pretty darn cool. They all had different rocks, but he wanted Earth, but I feel like I might have to go back and get more for him eventually, because this is pretty darn cool. And at Five Below, they were only like $3.25 today, which is amazing.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, you're gonna chisel it.
Chisel.
Chisel, chisel. Do you need some water to help?
Yeah.
Yeah? Like the other ones that we've done before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and so he also has NASA stickers that come with it, which is great. And we bought a bunch of Mario stuff for Landon, because that's what he loves. That's his cousin. And I got myself a rainbow. Did you choke yourself on your water, baby girl? This is Mommy's. A rainbow mystery bun, because Presley got one the last time we went to Five Below, and it was green, and it was really cool, so Mommy wanted one. So this is gonna be Mommy's. We'll open that in a little bit, but he needs water. And then she's eating some little snackies with her new water bottle. She's been drinking out of straw cups recently.
Water.
Do you want water to drink or just water to use?
Water to use?
Okay, I will get it. Yeah. So he dipped, oh, well you dipped the other side. You dipped that side, so let's dip this side in the water to make it a little easier.
Yeah.
Because that'll just help us do it, huh? Okay. There's the bottom. Try it now. You gotta like, yeah, keep doing that. Chisel, chisel, good job. My hand's now like in the way of you guys. Let me do this maybe. Chisel, chisel. He's done some little NASA. Oh, maybe. He's done some little NASA things like this before, but they were smaller, much smaller, and had a small thing in it. This one is huge, so I wonder how long this is going to take. Well, while he is attempting, can you guys see me? While he's attempting to do that, I thought we should open my thing. See what color I get, because he got green last time. And this was just like last week, the end of last week, so not even a full week ago. So whatever they have here, like whatever was in the store that we had to choose from is probably the same batch. So we have orange. Whoa, it is bright orange. This is Mommy's. You have green, and Mommy has orange. So it's just a really soft, squishy, yep, bun. And it comes in its own little cute steamer pot thing, which I love. So yeah, we got orange.
We got
That's pretty cool.
That's cool.
You are a mess. You are a mess. Girl. She's been doing this lately. So she just recently learned how to like actually drink water through straws with my straw cup. This is the type of cup that we had with Presley when he was really young. These are new, but they're very soft straws, and she does a good job in general. However, she's also learned that she can play with it. Like her shirt, Elliot, is soaked. Soaked. And I know we are actually getting a lot more family content right now because, yeah, today's Wednesday. Did I even say that? Today's Wednesday. Surprise. I did read more of Truthwitch last night. I'm close to page 80, I think, if not on page 80. I just didn't have a lot of time to read yesterday, but that is going to be more of my goal today. My hands are also very green and blue colored because I'm helping Presley with his thing. Yes, but I'm liking what I'm reading. I'm very curious where it's going to go. We have some interesting dynamics politically, and I'm not the biggest political fantasy person, and I know Nikki knows this after the fact, after she recommended this to me, but it's not too much yet, so we'll see how that goes. I'm very interested in the magic system and like what that means. So yeah, so far so good. Hello. Hello. Today is Friday. Yesterday was Thursday, obviously. I forgot to vlog. I didn't read anything yesterday either, but yesterday was my nephew Landon's birthday. We went to his birthday party. Presley played some games. I got like one game on video, and that was only to show my husband a thing. So I just completely forgot that I was vlogging and that I probably should have done something, but he had a lot of fun, so we did that. And so now, yeah, it's Friday. I have not finished anything else. So this vlog is going great. I'm putting things away because Elliot's trying to grab stuff. She did just wake up from nap, so during her nap I did read more in Truthwitch. I am now just about halfway in, still really enjoying it, still curious where this is going to go. It starts off with a lot of different point of views. I mean, it's still written in third person, but it's a lot of different point of views and a lot of different magic systems, and now we're finally getting a little bit more together of like, oh, well, these two characters are now with this third character, and this fourth character that we saw in some other stuff is like gonna try and find them. So it's just like coming together a little bit more. She just wants all of my stuff. Girl, you don't need an iPad. You're not even one. You don't need an iPad. Yes. She just woke up, so she's probably not ready for this. But yeah, so I am enjoying it. It is a lot of different types of magic, which is very interesting. I don't even know what this whole point of the story is supposed to be, so like I don't even know exactly how to bill it to you guys, except for the fact that like one of our main characters does have truth magic. Like she's a truth witch, she can sort of tell. That's where the title comes from, obviously. We have a blood witch, we have a wind witch, we have a thread witch, which is somebody who can like see all the different threads and stuff that they have. So there's a lot of different things going on. Don't eat your brother's cookie crumbs. I am just having a time here, okay? So I guess it's my update for now because she's trying to get things that she doesn't need. And I have not finished the book yet. I'm planning on reading more today. It says I have less than 3 hours left. I have like 2 hours and 40 something minutes. So hopefully that'll definitely be something that I can get like done. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, but I still have like 2 more things that I wanted to read. So we'll see how that goes. Part of the reason I didn't read yesterday is that I was programming things in for my new Choose Your Own Adventure readathon thing that I'm doing, which I've had people on Instagram voting on like when they want to see this, and I think July is when we're going to be doing it. So once I get a little bit more programming and, you know, outline stuff done in that, like I have the outline, I have the prompts that I want to do, it's just more like I actually have to do the programming stuff on the computer, and it's a website, so it's not like actual programming, but I do need to like put in the storyline and like what choices lead to what consequences and things like that. So like I do have to like actually go in and do that. I was doing a lot of that yesterday. Still only like maybe a quarter of the way through what I needed to do for that. And that was like during a 2-hour nap that she had. But that's part of the reason I didn't read. I'm not going to be doing any of that today just because I do need to read. Especially since Truthwitch is a library ebook that I think I have like 2 days left on. So like I need to finish it this week anyway. But I think that's going to be my update for now because she is eating cookie crumbs off the couch that her brother left her. So yeah. Come on over. Elliot. Oh, she's coming. Here she's coming. Elliot.
Yeah.
Hi. Hello. You wanna see? Look, that's you. Good morning and happy Saturday. So I finished Truthwitch last night. I wasn't entirely sure if I was going to finish it yesterday, but I made sure not to do anything else during Elliot's nap times. Because sometimes I will, like I said yesterday, go on the computer and like do work stuff, and like currently that is more like readathon planning, but I made sure to read. So I read during her first nap and her second nap, and then the kids actually went to bed like on time for once last night, and so I finished the book last night. And I don't think it's necessarily a full 5 stars, but I gave it a 4.5 because it's still really, really good. It was just like, I wish there was slightly more like knowledge of what the plot is. I feel like it was a very good introduction to the series, because it is a series, and it looks like there's still a book planning on coming out either this year or next year. Like, it's not completed, which, I don't know, Truthwitch feels like an OG booktube series in general, and so like interesting, but it just felt like I needed a little bit more. You okay? It just felt like I needed a little bit more. I liked the characters, I liked the introduction to the characters, I liked the introduction to the magic system. The world is a little bit complicated, and I think that's part of the political stuff that's going on. Like, I don't fully understand what happened in the past to lead up to now, but I'm sure we'll figure that out eventually. And I think one good thing though is that I'm definitely reading this when it's not hyped anymore, because it was one of those things that was like everywhere for a while when it first came out, and it was also very polarizing. Some people loved it, some people hated it. I do think some people also had like middling reviews, but that seemed to be like the overall consensus. Like, it has a 3 point something on Goodreads, and I think it's because it has such mixed reviews. But because of me hearing about all of these mixed reviews, I was like not entirely sure I wanted to read it. So this was the one book in this vlog that we're doing that got recommended to me, with it not being on my TBR, with it not being something that I was like super interested in, and I'm very pleasantly surprised by it because of that fact. And I think part of it is because I'm reading it now out of it being super, super hyped. So because I don't have expectations for it, I had literally no expectations whatsoever, I really did enjoy my time reading it. It was, I think, the longest book for this week, and so it is Saturday, and I need to read like 2 more things. But I really did enjoy my time in it. I liked a lot of the character dynamics. It had a little bit of romance that I'm hoping is expanded upon eventually, and I think I need to stop talking because they're fighting with each other. Or maybe not fighting. She's trying to take his stuff. He doesn't want her to take his stuff. She's gonna yell about it. The cat's just gonna watch on in the distance. Yeah, this is what we do nowadays. So yeah, I'm going to be reading 2 more books this weekend. One is Artificial Condition by Martha Wells. We talked about that. I actually did check out the audiobook from my library yesterday, because I actually thought I might have started that one last night because I was starting to get a headache and was just like around dinner time. But then I ended up just picking up the rest of Truthwitch. And so with that audiobook, it's like a 3-hour audiobook. I could probably finish it in about an hour and a half. Because some audiobooks I can read up to like 2 times speed. So we'll see about that. I might also just go back and I have the ebook version. And then we do have The Charm Offensive by Allison Cochran. This one actually, obviously, is a paperback book, a physical book. And it's like 300 something pages, so this is probably gonna be my next priority. Just over 300 pages. It shouldn't be too hard because it is a romance. But those are the 2 that I'm probably gonna go back and forth between this weekend. Yes. Hello! Look at his big clear box. Okay, so I bought him boxes that go in a box for all his rocks because I showed you the beginning of the like Earth Dig thing, which was like $3.25 from Five Below, and I was so confused, like, does it have 1 rock, does it have all 3 rocks? Like, I couldn't tell based on what it was saying. It does have all 3, and then since then, so today actually, we went back to Five Below and he got a Saturn one, so now he has 3 more rocks. Can we show them?
Yes.
Let's show them. So first of all, this is where we have his rocks. He has them like this. And so you can really see it. This is to keep them safe from Elliot and whatnot. I don't think I'm going to pull them out either. So like the first one, or maybe should we pull them out? Can you open it for me? And put it in my hand and I'll just show them. And then we'll put it back. So the first one that he got from the Earth Dig was Aventurine, which is a very nice like teal color. Can you put this one back?
Is that marbly?
It is marbly. You're right. So the second one that he got from the Earth kit, if I can pick it up, it's a very weird shape, is Moss Agate. It has like marble texture through it. It's really cool looking. And then the last one that was in the Earth kit, oh, put it in my hand. Thank you. Is Tiger's Eye. So it's layered, which is cool, but then it's also quite reflective and shiny on this side. I don't know if you guys can actually see, but I think it's really cool. So those were the Earth rocks.
The Saturn rocks.
And then the Saturn rocks next. You're right. Okay, so we start with that one.
That is really small.
This one is really small, so we gotta be careful we don't lose it, yeah? Put it in my hand. Okay. So this one is called Dragon Blood Jasper. And it's because it's like this cool greeny gray, and then it has like a reddish brown throughout it, which is cool.
It's so big.
It is.
And black.
And black. Because the next one that he got in his Saturn is Onyx, which is cool because it is just like black. And then the last one he got in Saturn is huge, by the way, compared to all the other rocks. Like, we thought we weren't going to be able to get it out of Saturn because it was taking forever. But it is this one here. It is Dalmatian Jasper, so it's like spotty, and I like that it does feel very like rough rock-like. Yeah, because some of the other ones are polished smooth, which is not a bad thing, but I like that it's different. So those are the things that he got. We're going to close it up. Part of the reason I got him this box is so that everything is together, but also so that Elliot can't easily get rocks. And then while we were there, I got another dumpling because I personally don't like warm colors, so I now have a purple one.
It has bubbles.
Yeah, that's Mommy's. Your green one actually is in the corner of the couch over here. Go over and look down. There's your green one.
It has a green bubble.
Yeah, but yeah, I like the texture of these. I will probably definitely be using it while I'm editing and writing things for the readathon. And I also just like the little steamer box. It's very cool. They're all rainbow colors, and I guess there's like a gold chase one, but like purple. So that's, oh, you're fine, I'm just vlogging. Oh. Trying to explain to people the difference between filming a video, a sit-down video, and vlogging. I'm so much more lenient with what is happening around me when I'm vlogging. Have not had a chance to read yet. We're collecting all the colors. I gave my orange dumpling to my sister. And yeah, I have not had a chance to read yet because we had to go out of the house and whatnot. We got some Mother's Day presents for my mom, obviously, and then also my sister and my sister-in-law. Just like, you know, little things, nothing too crazy. But we've been doing that. It is now 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's going to be Elliot's nap time. That is your sister, all the way over there. It's going to be her nap time, so that does mean I will be focusing on reading during her nap. And then depending on how easy or hard it is to hold a book, I'm probably going to try and start the Charm Offensive, just because I do find it a little easier sometimes to read a physical book during nap, as long as it's not too hard to hold, versus like with the book light at night, because sometimes the book light wakes them up. So I think that's the plan, as she's just over there poofing. Okay, so I'm actually coming back to talk to you guys when it's still Saturday, because I've been horrible about checking in this week, mostly just because I haven't been like doing a whole bunch of like reading and getting through a lot of books and all that kind of stuff. But I did want to just say that during Elliot's last nap, I did actually read like 65 pages of this, which wasn't as good as I would have liked to hope to get into, but she only slept for like an hour, so ultimately not too crazy. I am really liking it so far. This is very interesting because like I knew going in that we had demisexual rep, which I was very excited for. I didn't know which character, and I'm still not 100% entirely sure, but based on the way the characters are behaving, I'm pretty sure it's Charlie. He also ends up having like anxiety and like germophobia and stuff like that, so we definitely have some interesting dynamics going on. And we haven't really gotten into like the romance yet, but it's going to be between Charlie, who is like the main character, the main guy on like a bachelor type show, who signed up because it's supposed to like help his reputation, not necessarily because he thinks he's going to find love, which for me I think is also partly because this is a male-male romance, and he's on this show with like 20 other women, and he's definitely talked about them, not very much, but like in such a way to Dev, our other character who's like behind the scenes and sort of like his handler here, in a way that makes me think he doesn't like girls. But at the same time, maybe he's the one that's demisexual and just doesn't realize what he wants or anything like that, and really needs that connection first. Like, I'm very, very curious where this is going to go. And like I said, I'm only like 65 pages in, so I haven't gotten in a ton yet. I think I'm going to continue this one tonight though, because once the kids go to bed, I think the speed of this is going to be very, very quick to read, because like I said, I got like 65 pages in during Elliot's 1 hour nap, but I didn't even read the whole time of that. I think that was like a 45 minute read. So I think I can definitely pick up the pace a little bit of this. And I think I'm really, really going to enjoy it. So yeah. Hello, happy Sunday. Today is Mother's Day in the US, and so
Today is Mother's Day.
Yeah, it's Mother's Day. So it's almost 2 o'clock because we did stop by and have brunch at my brother's house. So it was just like my family and my sister's family and my brother's family and my parents. So that was a nice little thing there. But that means I want to try and finish my 2 books today. I got up to page, what was it? 155 yesterday. It's actually even in the middle of a chapter, which I hate doing, but I was reading this in bed last night, and at one point Elliot just started getting fussy, even though she was already asleep. She sleeps in bed with us. We co-sleep, and so it just got impossible to juggle both her and a book. But I'm really, really enjoying this one. Yeah, I definitely think Charlie is demisexual in here, because Dev has like confirmed that he is gay, and it sounds like he knows that. He has just gotten out of a relationship, but he knows like who he is and what he wants, whereas Charlie has come out, and like we've had this sort of like, hasn't said specifically demisexual. I don't even know if he would know that that's what it's called, but he's explained to us, I think, more than anybody else, that like he's never experienced this before. He's never thought about having sexual relations or feelings for men, women, anything, and he is now realizing that he likes Dev, and like in that way too. I'm really enjoying this. I think I did also mention that we have some really good like anxiety rep and stuff in here, specifically OCD stuff actually as well, and then Dev actually has talked about depression as well. So lots of actually good representation both for LGBTQ, because they're not the only ones. We have some other side characters that are as well, and I'm saying as well a lot, I realize that. But we also have the like mental health and that kind of stuff. So I'm really enjoying it. It hopefully shouldn't take me too long to finish this one, because I do also then want to read Artificial Condition, because yeah, I need to read that one too. But this is my first priority because I'm already in it and I need to know how it ends. I have 30 minutes left in this book, but Elliot woke up, so I have to put it down and go get her. But like 30 minutes left. Elliot woke up. I need to finish it. Okay, so I have officially finished The Charm Offensive. Didn't fully take me another half hour, I don't think so, to finish this. I teared up at this book, which has to mean it's 5 stars. I absolutely love this one. It tugged at my heartstrings. Like, I literally teared up at this. Like, I loved the actual romance of it and the way that the story came together, and the fact that so many of the characters in here are LGBTQ in some way. Like, it was just so good. I will say, I don't remember if I said earlier or not, they do actually get into what the asexual spectrum is like, and like demisexual versus like gray sexual and like all this different thing, and so like they really do get into that representation. I really enjoyed the way they explain that, because I do identify as demisexual, and so I definitely related to a lot of that specifically in here. And so yeah, 5 stars. So I still have one more book to read, which it's gonna be almost time to make dinner, so I don't think I'm gonna do it yet. But I don't want to jinx anything. Like, should I even talk about this? I don't know if I should talk about this, but I've read 3 out of 4 things that I'm supposed to read for this week, and they have all been 4.5 or 5 stars. The next one I'm supposed to read is Artificial Condition, which I gave the first book in this series 5 stars, so I'm really hoping that I love it as well. I'm trying not to jinx it. I'm trying not to like have too high of expectations, but at the same time, apparently my patrons really know my reading taste, because literally 4.5 or 5 stars so far. Seriously, like, I'm just can't believe it, but also love it, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's gonna be dinner time soon. We're gonna do steamed crab and like a shrimp boil and stuff, because it's Mother's Day and I got to pick what we're having for dinner. I'm gonna have to help cook it, but it's not too hard. Oh, it shouldn't be too hard. We'll see. I'm very excited for that. Elliot's gonna play her piano. She's adorable with it. Maybe I should. Two pianos? Are you talented? You playing piano?
They want 2 pianos.
Okay, well, we don't climb on the piano. Right, there you go. Press is helping. But yeah, gonna be dinner time soon, so I will update you guys when I've started or when I've finished. The lighting is horrible also. Is that better? I don't know, maybe. Artificial Condition. Yeah. Come here. Come to mama. 1, Good girl. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, good job. Come here. 5, 6. Oh, yay! Okay, so today is Monday. I am officially ending this vlog because I need to. The thing is, I did actually read and finish Artificial Condition last night. I think I jinxed myself a little bit because this is not a 5-star read. It is not a 4.5-star read. It's a 4-star read, so it's not horrible. I don't know if this is because I was slightly tired last night or if it was because I listened to it on audiobook and I read the first one physically, or not even physically. It was an ebook, but like I read it. I didn't listen to it. And I'm not the biggest audiobook person. Like sometimes it just does not work for me. But I remember absolutely loving All Systems Red. 5 out of 5 stars. Like I loved Murderbot and I loved the other characters with Murderbot and I liked the mystery aspect of like these scientists and like what is going on. Like I loved everything about it. And this one, it felt like it wasn't fully done the way that I wanted. I think part of it is because we're following different side characters. I think part of it is also that we're sort of looking into Murderbot's past, and at the same time it's not something that I fully cared about. Like it wasn't something that I thought we necessarily needed, and maybe it was just the execution, the fact that this is like 150 pages when we have this whole other like action-y sort of stuff going on. Like it just felt like it needed to be developed more. I will say I still liked how snarky Murderbot is at times. Like I do love them as a character, and I did like the addition of art. I just don't think this one quite lived up to what I remember of All Systems Red. And then also after the week I had been having of having amazing reads, it was the worst one of the week. Still a 4-star. Like it wasn't bad. This is like one of the best reading weeks I've had in a while. So I do still think the fact that my patrons were able to pick these books for me means that they sort of know my reading taste. Like they really did pick me some really good books. Like I loved so much of what I read. And I'm not saying that I didn't necessarily love Artificial Condition. It just wasn't as good as I remembered. But I think that's very interesting. The fact that these people, I mean, obviously probably watch my videos and everything, but they know my reading taste. Like, I think that's great. It's so interesting. And so this is definitely something I want to do again. I don't know if I'll be able to do like a full, like, you pick my book and I will read anything that you say, only because of the fact that when I put this out there, I had even less patrons than I do now. So I do think it's something that as people join this group that I have, which is mostly like a bi-monthly book club sort of thing right now. Like we're actually going to be voting on our next read soon. Like as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to be putting the poll up. But like we mostly do that, but we also just talk about books and life and lots of good discussions. And I do put some extra stuff like this sort of concept on there. I do go through and do some behind the scenes stuff of this channel, but it's mostly like a fun book club. And so I really enjoy that, but I think it's very interesting that like we do so far know my taste. Some of the books that we've read have had mixed reviews, but at the same time a lot of us seem to have the same thoughts and feelings on books, so that's always fun. But yeah, so far one of my best reading weeks, so thank you guys so much because you picked some good books for me to read. And I think I'm going to end the vlog here. Like I said, we'll do more of these in the future because I did have a lot of fun doing this one. But otherwise, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos coming out on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I will see you then. Bye!